today, but I'm going to jump right into today's topic, which I think a lot of people are going to resonate with, which is called weight loss resistance. What is weight loss resistance? That's what we're going to talk about today, because in my nutrition practice currently, this is the biggest issue I'm seeing outside of gut issues, which if you need to know about gut issues, then we do have some past Facebook Lives where we've talked about that. But outside of gut issues, weight loss resistance seems to be the biggest factor right now. So what's happening is people are coming to me and going, I'm exercising, I'm eating right, but I'm not losing weight. I'm not seeing results on the scale. I'm not seeing results in my clothes. In fact, in many cases, people are putting on weight. So this is a big epidemic going on of just people not getting results no matter what they're doing. They're trying diet pills. They're trying to exercise harder. They're trying to eat less and less and less. And I always ask the question, how's that working for you? And that's what we're going to talk about today. The stress that you're putting yourself under in all its vast forms is more of the factor here with weight loss resistance, not so much what you're eating or what you're doing. So we're going to go into that, and I'm going to give you some stress-free swaps to start getting that needle moving in the right direction. So I'm super excited about this. But again, if you guys have questions, comments, just post them there and I'll be happy to answer. I do have a couple of questions in the queue, not many today, so we'll get to those as well. But before we get started, if you want to check out the weight room, if you're not familiar with it, it's the weight room and fitness studios, and we're right here in Branson, West Missouri. So if you haven't come in and played around on our equipment, go ahead and do it. But in the meantime, we welcome those of you that are watching that are our members or that have been in before. Thank you, and continue to come check us out. We've got new stuff happening all the time. In fact, we were just talking earlier today about getting a nice 5:30 weight training class going. So hopefully that'll interest some of you. All right, so let's dive right into the topic at hand today. What is weight loss resistance? Okay, so when your body is under a vast amount of stress, and that can be, we're going to talk about all the different stresses there are, not just your daily stress of like the to-do list and the never-ending laundry and stuff like that. When your body's under vast amounts of certain stressors, you get what's full of your stress bucket. All of us have this stress bucket. And when that stress bucket gets full, your body goes into the sensation of, I'm not in a position to let go of weight because I don't know what's going to happen next. I'm super stressed out. I'm super fight or flight. And so I'm going to hold on to any amount of food that you bring in, any amount of water weight that you hold on to with weight training. And that's when we stop seeing results. The body's just certainly not in a position to let you slow down or to lose weight or to use stored body fat for energy. So part of that weight loss resistance with people is they'll see a lot of fatigue too. They'll be very tired, but yet they push through because they're like, oh, I got to get 2 workouts a day because I'm not getting results. And yet it's causing more and more accumulation in the stress bucket. So the stress bucket, what that is like we're all born with this, nice big metaphoric bucket. And even as a baby, when you're born, you have over 200 chemicals that your mom passed down from you, from BPA to formaldehydes to fluoride in the water that's passed in. So the bucket starts to fill up. But when we're younger, we can handle a lot more stress because our bucket hasn't overflowed yet. So this is why in your teens and 20s, you're able to stay up all night and it doesn't affect your body. The next day you can run on all 8 cylinders. In your 40s, that's not always the case. If you get no sleep, you feel like garbage the next day. That's the stress bucket. It accumulates as life goes on. And so it gets higher and higher. And usually, 30, 40, 50, that's when we start seeing all these health issues come up because the stress bucket is starting to overflow. And we're going to go into all the different stressors. Like I said, it's not just daily stress that we're talking about. Okay, so when that stress bucket starts to accumulate, and then we get to a rise in cortisol, that's your stress hormone. So as that stress accumulates, cortisol goes up and up and up and up and up, and then adrenaline releases. And what happens then, this is interesting, so pay attention to this. What happens then is you don't have to eat a donut. You don't have to eat a handful of M&Ms. You might be eating the world's best diet, and yet your body senses that you are eating a donut or you are eating M&Ms, even if you're not. How does that work? Well, if you take cortisol, what it does is it does something called gluconeogenesis. And specifically in the liver, what that does is it sends out the signal to break down muscle tissue for sugar. It turns those amino acids in the muscle tissue into glucose, meaning you could be fasting, you could be eating keto, you could be eating no sugar, but yet your body just burned up part of your quad or burned up part of your glute, the two largest muscles that we usually lose. That's why your legs get flabby and then you get thick through the middle, is because it took from that quad and made sugar to store in your midsection. Okay, so your body's like, hey, you ate a donut, and it was you. Okay, it was your muscle. So we don't think about that. So when we're allowing this stress, this day-to-day, all these different stressors to fill up the bucket and not addressing them and cramming as much into one day as we possibly can, only to crash into bed at night and hope to get a good night's sleep and then do it all over again, it's as if we're feeding our body lots of donuts and lots of M&Ms. That's powerful, right? Because we're trying to avoid all those things that trigger weight gain. But even without eating those foods, you can make it happen, which is really kind of eye-opening. Here's the other thing. So let's say you're a stress eater, you're an emotional eater, and you decide, I need those M&Ms, I need that donut, I've had a bad day. So on top of the stress that's accumulated in that stress bucket, now you reach for, a couple of handfuls of M&Ms to soothe your nerves. But what happens is now you've got the sugar that your body converted from your muscle and the processed sugar from the M&Ms. And so talk about weight gain. Your body's in a high cortisol, high adrenaline, high sugar situation where insulin rises. That's your fat storing hormone that gets glucose into the cells. And cortisol rises even further because sugar in a processed form is very stressful to the body. So it's like this vicious circle. So on top of actually eating the M&Ms, it's as if your body robbed from your muscle and made more M&Ms. So those of you that are emotional eaters, that's something to think about. It's something to notice. If you're under stress, what could you do instead that's not food, okay? What could you fill in the blank with something that would make you go, I deserve this, I need this, I've had a rough day, outside of food, outside of alcohol, outside of numbing out to an electronic device, which we're going to be talking about. Okay, so basically your body's saying to you when it's under stress, it's a hormone thing you wouldn't understand, okay? Cortisol is a hormone. When it's high, estrogen goes high. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a female, it will go high. And that's also a fat storing hormone. When cortisol's high, insulin goes high because again, we're breaking down muscle and turning it into sugar. Regardless of whether you're eating or not, you will make sugar and your insulin will go up to counteract it. That's a fat storing hormone. So stress really is the culprit here. It's not just the food, or it's not even the food. It might not be the food at all that you're eating. It's a hormone thing. So you need to understand, instead of you wouldn't understand, you need to understand that estrogen goes up, cortisol goes up, serotonin goes up too high. That can make you agitated and irritated. And so you're like, I just want to lash out at everybody. When those are high, the two hormones that help you with weight loss, actually probably three hormones, testosterone, progesterone, and DHEA go low. Okay, so those are the hormones we need in order to lose weight. But sadly, they're a teeter-totter. When estrogen and cortisol is high, all those will take a back seat and be low. So that's why it's a hormone thing. We have to look at it from the standpoint of how can I address the stress in my life to calm the cortisol and the adrenaline, and how can I bring in some natural things to help me boost testosterone and progesterone. We'll get to that. Okay. So the stress bucket, let's talk about all the different stressors that there are. The stress bucket, so it's not just daily stress, the to-do list, the never-ending laundry. Let's talk, because you'll hear some people go, oh no, I'm not stressed. I'm retired. I don't have a lot going on. I keep my life pretty simple. Cool. Okay. You don't have a lot of daily stress. But what about family stress? Worried about your kids? What about marriage stress? Do you have the perfect marriage? What about financial stress? Is COVID kind of got you in a financial situation, or maybe the world at large, everything's getting more expensive, so it's getting more hard to make ends meet? What about job stress, deadlines, and social pressures with your colleagues? My colleague's doing this, should I be doing that? So-and-so is doing this with their business, should I be doing that? But we've never had so much social pressure as we do right now because we can see what everybody else is doing. The next stressor is social media stress. When your feed is going off, do you feel really good after you look at everything? Are you like, oh, my feed makes me so happy. Like I get done and I just feel like I'm more relaxed and more at ease. No, most of you are telling me when I talk to you about social media pressures that you feel worse after you look at your feed because these guys are going on vacation. I want to go on vacation. These guys bought a new car. I want a new car. It's all these pressures of keeping up with the Joneses on the other end of Facebook and seeing what everybody's doing that maybe you're not doing, okay? And then you have media stress. So if the first thing you do is flick on the news in the morning and it's, Fox News blaring at you about the latest detrimental thing that's going on in the world, how does that make you feel? Is that a great way to start your day? Are you automatically like calm and relaxed and I love my life because watching negative news is making me feel amazing? No, typically what we're doing is we're getting amped up and anxious and stimulated, and thoughts are going through our mind like, oh, maybe I need to worry about that now. Oh, that's another issue in the world that I have to face. Okay. So sometimes this stress bucket gets full with just things like social media. Never in human history have we had as much social media in our face as now, because it's at our fingertips, it's on our TV, it's everywhere you go. And so you don't really get away from it. So one thing I tell people is like, look at your social media time that you spend on it and try to lessen that. Try to check it once a day or maybe once a week even. You will still learn the news, I promise you. You'll hear everybody talking about it. You'll find out what's going on in the world. I don't have social media. I have a Facebook page that I never go on. And if you friended me and I've never friended you back, don't be offended. I don't do any friend requests. I don't go on there. I had an Instagram page that's been sitting for lots of years because it was too much stress for me. It was too much anxiety. It was too much time away from my family, looking at a screen instead of being with the ones I love. So, part of these tips I'm going to give you today is really the biggest one. If you do nothing else with your stress bucket, is step away from the media, step away from the social pressures, and just live your life the way we did 20, 25 years ago when we got home from work and sat outside on the porch and watched the world go by, or called somebody on our landline when we wanted to know what they were doing versus checking social media to see what everybody's doing. So we'll get to that as well, but that's a major stressor I want you to be aware of. Like, how good would you feel if you didn't check your feed every 5 minutes? Would it be different for you? Okay. Physical stress, over exercising, over mom skills, I call it. Those of you moms out there that try to be phenomenal, they try to burn the candle at both ends and take care of everybody's problems and fix everybody. How's that working for you? Okay. Is it too much stress? Could you do maybe 3 things called love, listen, and pray, and that's it? That's all you have to do. You don't have to solve the world's problems. How about sleep stress? That's a physical stressor. When you don't sleep at night, ghrelin goes up, which is your hunger hormone, and it causes you to crave more food during the next day. Also, 6 hours or less of sleep per night will cause you to be insulin resistant for the next day, meaning that you won't handle sugar as well the next day. You probably want to go low carb the next day if you had a bad night's sleep. Okay? But sleep stress is hugely important because sleep is when we repair and we rest and digest and we turn over new tissue, and our liver, which is our project manager in our body, goes to work. And if you're not sleeping, then you're not detoxifying, you're not burning stored body fat for energy, and the next day you're going to feel really run down and those hormones get off kilter even more. Okay, we got a good little question here from Lisa. Let me see if I can scroll down here. It's kind of hard to see. Okay. She says, at my age, I just want to see some changes. How can I change my eating? See? Okay, I want you to stay tuned, Lisa, because we're going to be talking about why it's not just about the food. You may find some other tips and swaps today that are actually going to be more beneficial, and you'll naturally gravitate to foods that will help your body, okay? The big thing with women, and this is a stressor too, this is a physical stressor, is many of us don't eat enough, okay? We've been touted by, again, social media to be tiny and thin, and if you want to lose weight, eat lots less calories, eat like 500 calories a day and take this HCG shot. Nobody can sustain on that. Your energy is going to run out, your moods are going to be crappy, nobody's going to want to be around you. Yeah, maybe you'll be tiny, but are you going to do that the rest of your life? No, and the minute you don't, the weight comes back on. And that's a stressor to the body because guess what? Then you have slowed down your thyroid after that restrictive diet period to where you gain more weight than before. So it's not about eating less. I don't want people to go on these 1,000-calorie diets or even 1,200-calorie diets. Women, at a bare minimum, average woman should be around 1,500 to 1,600 calories a day, just ballpark. If you're working out, you need more than that. Okay, so keep track of it. See where you are. If you're not hitting those numbers, even just for a couple days, track it, then you'll know you're eating too little. And a lot of women don't eat enough protein. Lack of protein is a huge physical stressor. They might start the day with a bowl of oatmeal with nothing in it except for some brown sugar. and that's no protein. They might then have a peanut butter sandwich for lunch, very no to little protein. And then they might have pasta for dinner, no protein. Protein speeds metabolism by 60%, okay, every time you eat it. So protein should be a staple at every meal, no matter who you are, but specifically women, and specifically women who are after menopause or during menopause, you need more protein than you did when you were not in menopause. Okay, she says, I changed my exercise pattern where I'm not exercising as much as I did, but it seems to not be working. I'll be in today, she says. That's great, Lisa. I love to hear that. But yeah, I'm actually glad you dialed back on exercise because, like I said, over-exercising is just as harmful as no exercise at all. Think about, I want to pose this question to you. What if we exercised every day, all day long? So let's hypothetically say that we're exercising 20 hours a day. You're here at the gym 20 hours a day, and then you go to bed and you try, or you have 8 hours the rest of the night to either sleep or do your to-do list or whatever. How would you feel if you lifted for 20 hours? Would you have a lot of energy? Would you feel really good? Would your body look pristine? No. Okay, we seem to understand that our bodies have a wake and sleep cycle, like we need to be awake and we need to be asleep. That's fight or flight, and that's rest and digest. Okay, we need to be moving during the day, we need to get stuff done, but we also have to find that balance of rest and recovery. That's hugely important. It's kind of like what would happen if your cell phone, you never plugged it in. Well, the battery's going to die. You have to have that rest and recovery for your phone and charge it. And our bodies are the same way. Rest and recovery is huge for seeing stuff. I've had women that were over-exercisers that came to me for nutrition. I took them off exercise and they lost weight. Why? Because when your muscles are chronically inflamed, what happens is you retain water. As soon as you let the body calm down and bring that inflammation down, the water weight comes off your muscles. And they think I'm a genius, and I'm like, I'm not a genius. You just lost water weight from your muscles being so inflamed from so much over-exercise. So dialing back on your workouts is huge. Pick a day where you stretch. We're going to go into that later. Stretching is a wonderful way to still move your body, and it's functional, and it creates longevity, because if we get too stiff, we don't have good posture, we don't feel good, our joints start to ache. Pick a day where you just stretch instead of lift or do HIIT or run. No, your weight loss is not from the fact that you run 30 minutes and you should run 45 minutes. Your weight loss is affected by the stress that you're putting your body under. So we have to start taking things out of the stress bucket, and we're going to get to that. Okay. So more physical stressors are gut stress. If you don't feel good in your gut because you're eating gut is going to feel awful. And are you going to feel like going to your family or your friends? Are you going to feel like showing up if you look 6 months pregnant and because your gut is no. So it's a stressor. It causes further stress on top of the fact that your gut is inflamed. Okay. Now let's talk about environmental stress. This is one of my favorite topics because a lot of people, when I say environmental stress, they're like, oh yeah, we have pollution and stuff like that. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this new, in the last couple of decades, form of stress that you're not even aware of, and that is Wi-Fi everywhere we go. So our smartphones on us all the time, which usually have Wi-Fi on them and Bluetooth on times, which if you're listening to this, please turn those off if you're not using them right now, okay? Because that is a radiation against your body. If you can pick up Bluetooth in the area, you are being radiated. If you can pick up Wi-Fi in the area, you are being radiated. Okay, so these are stressors that while you can't feel it, if there were laser beams coming out of your Wi-Fi router or out of your smartphone, you would not go near it. It is that dangerous. And even the fine print of your booklet when you get your smartphone says, do not hold this device within 2 inches of your head, okay, or of your face. So we need to be having it on speakerphone and things like that, which we're going to get to. But environmental stress is not just Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. It's blue light. Right now, I'm sitting in the gym under blue light. I can't do anything about that. Businesses all over have blue light. But at night, I don't need to be around that. I need to dim my house lights. I need to wear blue blocking lenses so that I block out excess blue light, and that calms my nervous system down. When my nervous system is calm, I can let go of stored body fat for energy, okay? When my nervous system is calm, I can detoxify toxins out of my body, okay? Pour water, that's an environmental thing. When water, you're drinking tap water or what I call tampon water. Yeah, I said it. Because municipal water supplies are recycling toilet water to get water into your tap, okay? This is why we need a water filter. So we want to get the fluoride out, we want to get the birth control pills out that people are peeing out so that we're not getting more hormone issues. We want to get the glyphosate out because everybody sprays their yard with Roundup and it's going into our water supply. So there are water filters that will take glyphosate out. Not all of them do. So if you want to know about those, let me know and I'll tell you which ones. But then also, we talked a little bit about blue light. Alan is someone you need to know about. Alan is artificial light at night. After the sun goes down, when you expose yourself to a television or a computer or a smartphone, you are telling your brain that it's noon. What happens is your brain then goes, whoa, this day just got a lot longer. Didn't we have noon earlier? We need to release cortisol, release adrenaline. This is stressful. I should be winding down right now, but now I just realized that it's noon again. That's a really long day, and it throws you into almost a jet lag to where that's maybe why you're so groggy when you wake up in the morning, because your body's not sensing the right circadian rhythm as far as light exposure. So Alan, artificial light at night, needs to be dampened. So dimming the house lights, like I said, wearing amber colored blue blocking lenses. If you need a good pair, I can recommend one for you in the show notes. But also taking your body away from devices or turning off the devices like an electronic curfew, shutting off the TV at 8:30 and deciding, okay, the sun's almost going to set. I'm going to start reading my book before bed. I can guarantee you'll have better sleep. Better sleep means less stress in your bucket. Better light exposure and dimming those lights at night, you just took some stress out of your bucket. So this is things I want you to think about. These are how much stressors we're exposed to. It's not just that daily stress. How about plastics? Okay, BPA plastic, your receipts that you get at the store, just say no because they're coated with a BPA powder that seeps right into your skin within 15 seconds and you'll have higher levels of something called an endocrine disrupting chemical, meaning that the BPA will cause your estrogen to rise, whether you're male or female, and that will help you store fat. When you start storing fat, guess what is an endocrine organ that makes more estrogen? Fat. So the more fat you have on your body, the more estrogen you're creating. Because people will say, well, no, I'm in menopause. I don't make estrogen anymore. Yeah, your ovaries might not, but your fat glands do. Okay, so, and the more fat you have, the more. So that's why it's imperative that we lower the stress on the body so that the estrogen goes down and the body can then burn those toxic fat out of the cell, okay? All right, and then plastics such as drinking out of plastic bottles. Please, anywhere you go, even a thrift store, you can pick up a stainless steel to drink your water out of, okay? You can pick up stainless steel coffee cups to drink your coffee or your beverages out of. So I want you to think about stainless or think about glass. Get rid of those plastic bottles. Do not carry plastic water bottles in your car for an emergency. Carry stainless steel bottles in your car because when and if you need those bottles, they're loaded with estrogen mimicking BPA that have leached out from the bottle into the water. So you're basically just drinking estrogen when you're drinking out of plastic bottles. So do yourself a good service, take one less stressor out of the bucket and go get a stainless steel or a glass bottle to always fill up. Get several of them so that when you're gone for an entire day, you can fill up several of them and you don't have to stop and get bottled water, okay? It's a lot cheaper too, like stopping and getting a bottle at a gas station now like $2 or $3. So you might as well save yourself and buy a really nice couple of stainless and fill those up. And then your plastics as far as even the clothing we wear. How much cotton do you wear versus polyester? How much, things like linen do you wear versus rayon? These are plastics against our skin that we need to be aware of too. So swapping out your clothing for maybe a better source of, a natural fiber, cotton, hemp, even things like bamboo are on the market now. All of those are a natural fiber you might want to think about. Okay, here's some extra stressors to consider. Do you commute for work? You're getting a lot of pollution from the cars that you're around, and the stress of stop and go and here and there and in the car. Okay, that's a stressor. How about energy suckers? Do you have some energy suckers in your life? These people in our life that are toxic and they suck all your energy? Sorry to say, if you have a stress bucket full of toxic energy suckers, it's time to move those people out and avoid bad association with people that really bring you down. Now, sometimes those are in our own households. Sometimes those are people that we work with. So it's, it's something to think about. Okay, how can I make my environment more positive? That's something to consider. But energy suckers are also a stressor. Indoor negative energy. Okay, when we're indoors all the time, that's a stressor to the body because humans are solar powered. Humans are made to be outside. Did you know one study showed that 93% of the time people are indoors, 7% of the time they're outdoors? That's scary. Okay, we used to be outside all the time. When I was growing up, it was playing in my treehouse, it was riding bikes, it was climbing trees. Kids are not doing that today. And people are not doing that. They're not going outside. And going outside is good for your nervous system. It's calming. When you hike in the forest for a couple of hours, you actually increase DHEA. That's one of those hormones we talked about that actually helps with weight loss. There's published studies on this, that you go hiking and you're going to increase your DHEA. So nature is very healing. Nature is very calming. That's why you feel so good when you're next to an ocean and you're walking on the beach. You're not going to feel that same way staring at a computer inside all day like I am doing right now, which after this I'll be going outside, so I hope you'll join me too. Which is why I teach outside a lot. A lot of my classes I like to teach outside because we're indoors too much. We need fresh air. We need sunshine. Yeah, you're going to get hot and sweaty because it's humid out there, but you should sweat once a day too because that's part of getting rid of those toxins out of your body. All right, and then even supplements are something that you're going to want to think about as a stressor. Why? Because certain supplements have fillers and chemicals in them that can actually anger your liver. Yeah, some people who already have liver inflammation, if they take a supplement, their liver's like agitated at the certain ingredients in there. So that's something that you might want to visit with a nutritionist and just bring your, list of supplements and say, this is what I take. What do you think? Is this good for me or no? Because a lot of times we're taking a supplement that's either poor quality or it really doesn't do our body a service and it's actually causing further stress, such as things like fat burners that are overstimulating those adrenal glands. A lot of people want to think, oh, if I can't lose weight, maybe I need a fat burner. Well, if they're overstimulating the adrenal glands, then you just made the stress bucket fuller. You just made the problem worse, okay, versus something that calms the body so that your body can let go of that fight or flight feeling and allow you to lose some stored body fat, okay? So sometimes it's more like taking a magnesium, which is your calming mineral, versus taking an upper, like a fat burner with a ton of caffeine in it. Okay, so how about COVID tension? That's another stressor right now. We're living in this pandemic, this world that is surrounded by these ideas that we should be afraid of everything and everyone. Okay, that's a stressor. So whether or not you have all these other stressors we mentioned, we are living in a stressful world. Between the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth and the COVID, I mean, you can't escape it. So we have to know what to do about it and how to move forward and some swaps we can make. I have some questions for you today I want you to pay attention to. By the way, you can post any questions to me, but I'm going to actually ask you a bunch of questions to think about to get that mind going in the right direction. Before I do that though, Elaine has a question about CBD. Okay, so she's been hearing a lot about CBD and is it beneficial for us? Should we be taking CBD? Who's right for CBD and who's not? Let's talk about that. So the number one thing, if you get nothing else out of this information about CBD, is to first know that it's estrogenic. Okay, so CBD products are estrogenic, whether you're male or female. You will eventually slowly raise your estrogen levels by taking a cannabinoid such as CBD. Okay, so, and especially different various forms of it, especially the ones with like THC and things of that nature in it. Now there's some lesser ones that are made from just hemp oil and stuff like that that probably aren't as terrible, but again, hemp has phytoestrogens in it. So you're going to want to be careful if you are at all estrogen dominant or if you're looking to keep your estrogen down. CBD is probably not right for you. Now, a lot of people get benefit for sleep or relaxation or anxiety, and that's okay, but there's other products out on the market that can actually help you assist the body to calm down You might not have a CBD deficiency, okay, is what I'm saying. You may have a magnesium deficiency, which again is your calming mineral. So instead of the CBD, if you took a higher dose of magnesium, most people need between 600 to 800 milligrams, and it needs to be good quality, not the Nature's Way magnesium oxide at Walmart. Please don't get that. Get a good quality one. That's going to calm you down to where maybe you don't need the CBD, and then you're not elevating your estrogen levels, since magnesium actually helps you get rid of estrogen. Okay, so that's my take on CBD. Let's go into the questions I want to ask you guys about talking about the stress bucket and how we can get our body to do what we want it to do by removing some of the stressors. So first, if you are one of those people who burns the candle at both ends, you're cramming as much into one day as you possibly can, only to crash into bed at night, what's your rest? How do you recover daily? Or do you? Okay, once you think about that, do I recover? Is there a balance of work and working out and activity and a balance of rest? And I'm not talking about rest with food or rest with alcohol or rest with devices. I'm talking about rest, no device, no numbing out with food, no alcohol, not anything that has to do with watching Netflix and chilling. No, that's not rest and recovery. That's numbing out. That's different to your body. It's still a stressor because, again, we have that artificial light at night. We have the blue light. We have the Wi-Fi streaming through your house, all of which is a stressor to your nervous system. Okay, so ask yourself, outside of those things, how do I rest? How do I recover? What's your time? Do a pie chart with your time. How much of your time is spent on a device? How much of your time is spent laying on a blanket, watching the clouds go by, sitting outside in nature, sitting with a friend and talking, doing a hobby that's not related to an electronic device, okay? These are things I want you to start thinking about. When's the last time you went and had some fun? What about floating in the lake? You maybe scrapbooking, singing in the shower. All of these things are really good for calming the nervous system down. Getting a massage. When's the last time you walked instead of going for a run? When's the last time you went camping and you slept on the earth instead of a up high bed and surrounded by televisions and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and smartphones and stuff like that? When's the last time you went swimming? When's the last time you planned a down day where you did nothing but read a book and sat in a hammock, or just went for long leisurely walks and just did some odds and ends around the house? These are things that we need to ask ourselves. Am I really balanced in my daily life? Because if my life is entailing this device at this time of the day and going to this deadline event at this time of the day and cramming as much of my work into this part of the day and dealing with my kids with a poor attitude because I'm so stressed about everything else at this time of day, are you really finding the balance? Are you really resting and digesting? And there's another one, digestion. Like, how much of your day is bloated? How much of your day is constipated? How much of your day is loose stools even? So our bowels are like a metaphor for how we're doing in life. Yeah, we're going to the poop talk. I always go there. Let's say you're constipated, for instance, all day long. You're bottled up, you're tight, you're tense, you're not allowing anything to come out because you're trying to take on everything for everybody. And it's coming out as constipation in you. Or conversely, you have loose stools. You're out of control. You can't control your life. Everything seems chaotic. It's one thing after another. And the only thing your body can do is flush, 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 because I got to get out this toxic stress I keep being exposed to. Okay, so your body kind of goes into this chronic, dump everything, because we have to slow down. We have to stop this. So again, your gut will tell you what's going on in your life. Are you bloated? Bloated kind of indicates you're taking on too much. Okay, so you've got too many irons in the fire and not enough time to digest your food. A lot of times these are the people that are eating in their car, eating on the go, eating standing up. Okay, so this is stuff to think about. Where can I dial back? Where can I find the balance? Can I start sitting at meals? Can I stop eating in my car? Can I stop eating after the sun goes down? Because it's really imperative that our eating schedule matches the circadian rhythm of light. Okay, eat when the sun is up, stop eating after the sun goes down. Pure and simple way of fast. Everybody's into this fasting. You don't need to do it during the day. You need to do it when the light is low, because in general, humans would not have access to food if they had no lighting. Okay, so that's something to think about as well. All right, so before we get into the stress-free swaps, that's what we're going to next. I want you to think about testing and not guessing, okay? So if you're thinking this is a hormonal thing, I can resonate with what she's saying. My stress bucket is super full, and that means my hormones are probably off. Then don't guess. I mean, if you have all these symptoms we've talked about, then you're probably onto something. But you definitely want a good picture of what's going on in your blood work. So go out, and it's really easy to do. You can do this all on your own. You don't need a doctor, and I can even read your blood work for you. But you go to ultalabtests.com or there's all kinds of lab test places you can order online. Any lab test you want. And specifically, men should get a comprehensive male hormone panel. Women should get a comprehensive female hormone panel. You order it, you pick your location, such as in the city next to you, there's usually a Quest or a LabCorp that you make an appointment with. You go there, they take your blood, and then they go and give it to you in your email within 24 to 48 hours. So you have all of your blood work back within 24 to 48 hours. You bring it to somebody like me or another nutritionist. In a consult, we're able to sit down with you and go over all your blood work and go, this is what you need, this is what you don't need. Let's pull some stuff out of the stress bucket, and let's dial in some foods that'll really resonate with you, some supplements, some lifestyle factors, stuff like that. Okay, so test, don't guess. If you think you have hormone issues, that's the weight loss resistance. It has nothing to do with food or exercise. So going back to the stress mentality of like how we can weed out the stressors in our life, I want to talk with you about a quote that I love. And this is a great way to think about those questions I asked you earlier. This is a quote by Audrey Hepburn, and it says, every day should have something exquisite in it. So if you're that individual that's cramming as much into your day of to-dos and run this and go here and do that and take care of this person, blah, 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 and you don't have one little 3 to 5 minute part of your day where you're like, I can't wait till I can fill in the blank for those few minutes. Not food again, not stopping for coffee. I know, I love coffee too. Not numbing out to your feed. Outside of all of those things, what would be something exquisite for you? Okay, not alcohol at the end of the day. That's numbing out. You got to feel, you got to be, you got to be in the moment, and that's what is really beneficial for that exquisite moment. And a lot of people will say, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that would be. I don't know what my vitamin P pleasure, passion, purpose would be. So these are things to discover, okay? So go out and discover what would it be that would make my day exquisite, even if it's only 2 to 3 minutes, because we only get 25,000 sunrises and sunsets in a lifetime. We only get this day. You're not guaranteed tomorrow. So what are you going to do today that's going to make it exquisite, okay? All right, whew, gotta take a breather. Dobby Youngblood has a question here. What's a good brand of vitamins? That is such a well-rounded question, because there's a lot of good vitamins out there. How about I make it a little more simple to understand? I'm not a huge component of a multivitamin, so to speak, as much as I am a multi-mineral, okay? So minerals are your cofactors for things like liver detoxification, metabolism and thyroid function, and good bowel function, okay? So maybe you want to look at getting on a good multi-mineral supplement versus just a multivitamin. Getting our vitamins from food is really important. So eating earth-based foods, not things that can't naturally grow in your backyard if you wanted them to. Like a Cheeto's not going to grow in your backyard, so forget about it. McDonald's food's not going to grow in your backyard, so forget about it. But things like sugar snap peas and baby carrots and fruit, raw fruit, any kind that you like, and good earth-based animals that were grown on the earth and their meat is good, wild-caught seafood, these kind of things. It's not rocket science. It's eat stuff that is less processed, and that's what's going to give you vitamins. Now, as far as a good brand, there's a lot of good brands out there. You know, Nature's Wonders here in town in the herb shop, there's Solar Ray has some good products. Now Foods has some good products. We carry a line here called Jocko, and it's a really great line of different things. Like we have a sleep blend here. We have a testosterone booster, which if your cortisol's high, that testosterone booster is going to be a huge needle mover for you. It's got a lot of great minerals in it itself, such as something called shilajit, which is like an earth-based resin that has all of our trace minerals in it. So as far as B vitamins, you want to look at things that have your like a B complex, and there's a lot of good ones out there, but it should always be combined with like some magnesium, because magnesium makes it a little more available, because magnesium is responsible for over 300 processes in your body. So I can't stress enough magnesium. Okay, but yeah, there's a lot of good brands out there. Don't buy at Walmart. They don't carry like good quality brands. Anything mass produced. You want to look at these small companies that really make each batch special. One of my favorites is a company called Biohacks Research, which I recommend to my clients. It's a practitioner line, and so I can recommend it to someone who I'm working with, and I know the quality. You can tour the factory and see how they make the supplements. There's no transparency, so I like that a lot too. Okay, let's jump into stress-free swaps, okay? So instead of this, you're gonna swap out with this, okay? So these are some swaps I want you to think about. Now these are really random, but I'm hoping that when I give you these stress-free swaps, you're gonna be able to go, okay, I can do one of these things. If you can do one of these things, then you have just taken one thing out of your stress bucket, okay? And the more you take out of that stress bucket, the more results you're gonna get with your weight loss. So here's stress swap number one. Instead of TV, right when you get home, flicking on that TV, what about a 15-minute walk? Set your stuff down, set your phone down, go out for a walk. What if you did that? What would happen? Might try it and see. Instead of numbing out to your feed when you have a moment, maybe you're stuck in line at Walmart, or you're just wanting to go feed, because I don't want to think, I need to be constantly entertained. What if you did 5 deep breaths? What if you left your phone alone and just breathed and just slowed down your exhales? What if? Okay. Here's another swap. You're in traffic jam. Here's what I do when I'm stuck at a stoplight is I relax every muscle in my body. Even with my hands on the steering wheel, I relax them, and I relax my shoulders, and I relax my hips into my seat. And that is just a quick little relaxation in your day. So I want you to notice how tense your body is during the day. When you're sitting at a computer right now, how tense are you? Is your shoulders relaxed? Is your back tight? Are your abs sucked in? Notice. And if you feel like your quads are even on right now while you're sitting, that's a lot of tension that you're carrying around all day and you're not even aware of. So what if you spent a few minutes each day just going, okay, everything relax, legs relax, shoulders relax, neck relax, okay? What if you did that? You might actually notice a few things change within your body. Remember, these are small changes that yield big results over time. Okay, instead of fast foods, swap out with convenient, healthy foods. Like you got to make dinner and you don't have time. Instead of going through the drive-thru, what about running into the store? Rotisserie chicken, baby carrots, and hummus. Bob's your uncle, you're done. Or rotisserie chicken, microwave sweet potatoes for the family. Bob's your uncle. So it's like you can grab and go stuff that's a lot more conducive to health and a lot less stressful on the body than fast food would be. What about, now they have these cauliflower crust pizzas. You can run in and grab those, throw it in the oven when you get home, and at least you have a gluten-free pizza versus going to the store or going to the fast food and picking up a pizza that's just going to make you feel bloated and gross when you're done, okay? Small changes yield big results. Instead of coffee in the afternoon when you feel that like, oh, it's 2 o'clock, I'm dying. Okay, try chugging water with some electrolytes. You may just be dehydrated, and that's all you need. You don't need extra caffeine that when you go to bed at 10 o'clock, your body's like, I'm not tired. I'm not tired. You fed me caffeine at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's still floating through my system. Okay. Whereas if you're hydrated, your cortisol is going to naturally dip as the day goes on to where you hit about 9 o'clock and you're like, I can't keep my eyes open. That's the way it should be. We should have a good cortisol load in the morning to pop us out of bed, and then it should gradually taper off as time goes on. Okay. Instead of another episode of Netflix, because it's so enticing, right? To just go, oh, that one's over. Let's go right into the next one. In fact, Netflix does it for you. It just goes right into it. But what about turning on your Christmas tree timer on your Wi-Fi that shuts you off right at 9:30? Everything in the house powers down at 9:30. Electronic curfew. Okay, what if like you don't even have a choice? You're in the middle of an episode, Christmas tree timer goes off because it's attached to your Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi goes off, and you're like, oh, that's time for me to read and go to bed. Okay, it makes it easy to make that habit when you just set it and forget it. Okay, then you're like forcing yourself to listen to your body, have a wind down routine. Babies and children do so good with the same routine at night, and guess what? We're all just big giant children. We still need a wind down routine every night. So make sure you're getting that in. Okay, how about instead of pounding the weights more when you're already sore, let's say you've done every class this week that I've taught and that other instructors have taught. You've been in every class, man. You are on it. But yet you're so tired and your muscles are so sore and your body is so fatigued. Then if you rest for 48 to 72 hours, you're going to drop weight. I guarantee it. Your weight loss resistance is over because you're going to let go of that water weight. You're going to let go of the inflammation and allow your body to come down. Okay? Next swap out playing on your phone for playing outside. Okay? Just that act has lowered your radiation exposure of being on your phone versus being outside in nature, which calms your nervous system. Okay? So when you have a free moment, instead of playing words with friends, go outside and watch the clouds go by. Lay on a blanket, rock in a rocking chair, swing in a hammock, go for a little stroll down the road with your dog, play with your dog, play with your kids. Like, there's so much you can do outside. Go sit by a creek, go put your feet in a really cold creek and ground your body. Okay, all of these sound amazing when we're talking about them, but go do them. Like, they're really helpful for weight loss. All the time indoors, all the time on devices, all the time on feeds and social pressure, where has that gotten you? Is it helping you? Is it making you a better person? When you die, are people going to say, I'm so glad they were on social media all day long because that was just an amazing human? No, they're going to think about the things you did for them. They're going to think about the way you lived your life. They're going to think about all the wonderful ways you reached out to them and you cared for others and you mentored and you were there and you helped them when they needed you. Okay, that's what they're going to remember. They're not going to remember all the funny things you said on social media. Okay, all right, swap out indoor light on your lunch break for outdoor light. A lot of you are eating at your desks at lunch time. Could be right now. And if that's the case, let's start eating outside. Take your lunch outside. We've had the most incredible July. Like, normally it's so hot and muggy, and we've been 80s and sunny and beautiful. No excuse to get away from the devices and go outside. That little bitty bit will help your body let go of the stress. Just being in sunlight. Sunlight is so soothing to your nervous system. Fresh air for your lungs instead of indoor recycled air-conditioned air. Being in a different temperature than 68 or 70 degrees like the office has. Your body needs temperature fluctuations because that's what we would normally be doing in life, is having different temperatures in different seasons, okay? But if we're constantly going, and here's the 93% indoor exposure. We're in the house when we wake up. We go to the car in the garage. We get in the car. We're indoors. Another 70 degrees, just like the house. We drive to the office. We walk for a couple minutes or a minute to the door. We're in the office and 70 degrees. We stay there. We go to a restaurant for lunch, but we don't eat outside. We're still in 70 degrees. And we go home. We walk from the garage into the house. We never see the light of day. So we got to start doing that 7% outside and do 93% outside. Take your computer outside. A lot of people are working on their porch when they're working at home, or they're getting a standing desk and standing at a little table outside. You know, whatever you can do to get more exposure, even if you have to work and things like that. Outdoors. Humans are made for outdoors. Okay, swap out fat burners for liver support. Okay, instead of taking another fat burner, let's look at your liver. Remember how I said he's your project manager? Okay, so body fat is regulated through your liver. Hormones regulated through your liver. Toxins are regulated through your liver. So liver support will actually help you with weight loss, with detoxification. You don't need to go on every cleanse that's out there and take all these hundreds of pills that come in the cleanse. What you need to do is daily cleanse. That means you take care of your liver and your body will naturally detoxify with every breath you take, okay? Every time you exhale, you should be detoxifying. But if your liver is not functioning because a lot of alcohol, a lot of sugar, a lot of processed food, a lot of indoor air quality that's not good for your body, then all of that is going to create an accumulation of stress in the liver. The liver gets inflamed, okay? You'll feel a dull ache or a fullness on your right side, right underneath your right rib cage. You'll feel like you're kind of always full on that right side. Even when you're not eating, you'll feel like this kind of fullness. Maybe you'll get blood work and your liver enzymes are elevated. Maybe you have rosacea and inflammation in the face because in Chinese medicine, liver heat rises and it causes the face to feel red and inflamed. The eyes get red and inflamed, okay? That's liver inflammation. The eyes can get yellow too. So liver support, and you can talk to a nutritionist like myself and get on a good liver support, choosing foods that support your liver, doing certain things like castor oil packs that are free to do on your liver. All of that is super cool. So don't focus on fat burners, focus on liver loving. Love your liver with good support of your liver. All right, next one up is swap out plastic bottles for glass. We kind of talked about that before, but I can't reiterate it enough. Also, your plastic containers. If you're putting all your food in plastic containers, at the very minimum, don't heat it in a microwave, please. Don't heat them in the microwave. But at the maximum, get rid of your plastic containers and replace them with glass, because that plastic has BPA that leaches into your food. And even if it says BPA free, that doesn't mean anything, because they have BPF, that are these, oh yeah, it's not BPA, okay? That's what they're going to tell you, but it's the same thing. And some of them are even worse as far as endocrine disrupting than the BPA itself. So forget about plastics. Just stick to glass or stainless. And there's lots of options. You can go to TJ Maxx and get glass Tupperwares or containers for storage. Swap out your chemical cleaners for natural fragrance-free cleaners. Did you know you can clean with vodka? Okay, vodka makes a wonderful cleaner. So instead of stressing your body drinking the vodka, no, instead we're going to clean with the vodka so it doesn't affect our body. So that's a good tip. It's very good to clean with. I just learned that recently. I didn't know that vodka was a good cleaner, but I am going to be using it. Instead of Bluetooth, always on, and we're going to talk about always where it is on that you're not aware of. Turn it off and use your auxiliary to plug things in, or your USB to plug things into speakers and stuff like that. You can do that. You don't have to turn Bluetooth on. And in your car is what I want to talk to you about. Okay, so if you are sitting in a car and you may not even know that there's your car is Wi-Fi. Cool, yeah, my car is Wi-Fi. And it's right underneath your seat, radiating up into your colon. Why do you think we have so many colon cancers going on? How about Bluetooth? You're swimming in Bluetooth while you're driving. This is a huge cause for tinnitus, ringing of the ears. If you have that, please turn your Bluetooth off. You are being affected. If you have headaches in your car, if I drive in a car for more than an hour that has Bluetooth on, I get burning pain on the top of my skull. Okay, yeah, call me crazy, call me sensitive to it or whatever, but even if you don't feel it, you should turn your Bluetooth off. You can use that little auxiliary port or the USB port in your car, and you can still use hands-free, okay? Swap out conventional meat for organic, grass-fed, or wild meats, wild caught fish, wild game. Because if they have exogenous hormones in them that they were given conventionally, then those are going into you when you eat them. So you're affecting your hormones just by the meat you're choosing. Now, how about those of you that have Alexa or Google in every room of your home? Okay, this is very, very dangerous. Not only are you being listened to, and I have proof of this, but you're also having a large amount of Bluetooth and radiation from Wi-Fi in every room of your house. If you have a baby monitor for your baby that has Wi-Fi, that's one of the worst things you can do for your child. I did it. I know. I wasn't educated when I had my baby, and when I turned off that Wi-Fi router that was right next to her crib, she slept for the first time all night long. Okay? I'm just saying, it's huge to how much this Wi-Fi radiation affects us. And you've heard me say it on other podcasts, and I'll say it till the day I die. We are not meant for this much radiation. So we have to do everything that we can do to live in this modern world and not be affected by it, which means turning off your Wi-Fi unless you need it. Okay? Turning off Alexa unless you need her. Turning off Siri unless you need her. Turning off Google unless you need them. Okay? And it's kind of creepy. AI is creepy to me. That's just a whole nother subject. Okay, swap out HIIT training and with sculpting work and long rests. If you've been doing like boot camps and HIIT training and this and that and the other, and cramming your body into as much stress as you possibly can, let's dial it back. Let's come in and do a set of bicep curls. Rest for 2 minutes. Do another set of bicep curls. Rest for 2 minutes. Go as heavy as you can, but take long rests and let your body recover. especially women. We think we have to go in, all in, everything, give it your all, don't stop moving for an hour. And what does that get us? But exhausted, we need a nap after our workout. If that's true for you, you're doing too much. You should feel good after your workout. Okay, so we need to dial it back, use lighter weights if you're gonna go in a nonstop, but really to see changes in the body, heavy weights, long rest so your body can recover, and then days in between working that body part. If you work legs on Monday, I don't want to see you work legs again till Thursday or Friday. If you work chest on Tuesday, I don't want to see you work chest again till Friday or Saturday. Okay, give it some time. It's got to build and recover. That's when you see growth. That's when growth happens. Sleeping at night is when you'll release growth hormones to make those muscles grow. Whether you're male or female, we want that to happen. Whether you're a female, it's like, I want to be tiny, I don't want big muscles. You're not going to grow big muscles. What you're going to do is sculpt the ones you have to be amazing, and then you're going to burn and shed body fat, okay? All right, swap out turning on your phone or TV as soon as you wake up and watch the sunrise instead. Like I mentioned, we only get 25,000 sunrises in a lifetime, or thereabouts, roughly. So how many of those do you want to miss? There was an amazing one this morning. I don't know if I can pull it up for you on my phone, because I watched the sunrise this morning and it was phenomenal. Big giant sun over the hills. Can you see that? And reflecting off the water. Oh my gosh, it was epic. Way better than any Facebook feed could ever be, okay? So go out in the morning, see how many sunrises you can get. See how many sunsets you can get. Swap out something hard for a workout for something easy and enjoyable. Like stretching. We talked about stretching. Stretching is so easy to do. If you don't feel the energy, you can still stretch. If you are like, I'm so exhausted, I can't do a workout, come into the gym and stretch. We have a foam roller. We've got mats you can sit on. You can pull up a YouTube video and pull up some stretching. I even have some stretching videos you can pull up. At least stretch. If you do nothing else on any given day, is stretch your body, okay? Paddleboarding. I teach paddleboard lessons, so you could come out and do what I call active relaxation, where you are working every muscle of your body, but you do not get winded, is no impact on your body, so you're not going to have joint pain when you're doing it, okay? And it's very doable because I have very buoyant boards, and it's a wonderful way to work your core and not even feel like you're doing it because you're out in nature, you're getting sunshine, you're getting vitamin D. So I highly recommend trying that. Trying something new is a great de-stressor, as long as it's like something you look forward to, right? Not something you're like, oh my gosh, I dread that. All right, swap out alcohol at night to wind down with something called GABA and magnesium. GABA helps with your neurotransmitter that calms your brain, that shuts off that hamster wheel of thoughts, that allows you to stay asleep at night. So if you're one of those people that uses alcohol to wind down, get it? Then maybe you want to try getting rid of that and winding down with what's actually going on in your body. You don't have an alcohol deficiency. Your liver can't stand alcohol. It wants to get it out as soon as it comes in. It'll metabolize the alcohol out and leave the pizza that you had along with it to turn into stored body fat, okay? So alcohol is going to be huge to get rid of and see changes in your body. Even if you're only doing 1 glass of wine a night, you're not going to get results. It's a huge stressor on the body. Actually, I did a podcast with a doctor recently, and he said, yeah, champagne is beneficial if you take a half a teaspoon a day. So I was like, oh, that's an interesting wine glass with half a teaspoon of champagne in it. But he said that's the only medicinal purpose, is like it's got a little bit of the natural alcohol to like help with endotoxins and bacteria, but only half a teaspoon. Any higher than that, it's actually a stressor to your nervous system. So swap out the alcohol and look for GABA, and then magnesium glycinate is really nice, or a magnesium citrate, or a magnesium threonate. Those are really calming to the body, okay? Finally, let's, and these are in no particular order, but I'm just telling you this last one here before we wrap up, is swap out your Glade plugins at your house with essential oil diffusers. Yeah, so any of these chemicals, these chemical cleaners, these household diffusers that are Glade and Febreze and all of these things, they're loaded with endocrine disrupting chemicals, meaning that they get breathed in, or they touch your skin, or they absorb through your skin, even when you're just walking through your house, because the molecules are floating around. and you are actually making more estrogen from those. So we want natural things like essential oils or natural candles, maybe even just making your own room spray by putting some water and a few of your favorite drops of essential oil that you can just spray the room. Okay. Look for the cause of why you need the Glade plugins. What's stinky in your house that you need to get rid of and clean it up versus just putting Glade in. I can tell you that will make a huge difference in your breathing, in your stress, in your weight loss, because you are lowering the estrogen load on your nervous system. Okay, we're wrapping up here. I appreciate all the comments. We had a bit of comments here. Even Bunny logged on and said hi there. So it's good to see you guys. Continue to post questions. We love to answer questions. I'm trying to do more of these Facebook Lives as time allows. If you see me in the gym, ask me questions. I'm happy to answer. And yeah, take care of yourself. Lower that stress bucket. See what you can pull out that will be one less thing. Maybe there's just one thing you heard today that you can run with and see if that makes a difference for you. It's not always about the food. It's not always about what more exercise you should be doing. It's actually less is more. Less toxic stress is more. Okay. Promo code alert. What is one of the easiest tips to improve your sleep and lower your stress? Blue light blocking, of course. So Alan, nope, not your neighbor or your friend Alan, but actually artificial light at night, ALAN. Alan is something that after dark, if you have that artificial light, maybe fluorescent lighting or blue lights in your house or a TV shining in your face or a smartphone shining in your face after dark, stimulates your adrenals to not only make cortisol, giving you that I'm too wired to sleep feeling, but also blocks melatonin production. So even if you fall asleep, you will find you have trouble staying asleep. In addition to that, studies have shown that blue light after dark stimulates insulin production, leading to weight gain through late night munchies or just simply by muscle breakdown from stress. And that muscle turns into sugar. That elevates your blood sugar. That causes weight gain. So simply putting on blue light blocking glasses from swanwicksleep.com can be a recipe for sleeping better and even losing weight. And right now, you can save 10% off your favorite stylish pair of Swannies by using my code FITFOR10. That's FITFOR 10. Visit swanwicksleep.com and use my code today. My favorite pair? I'm currently loving the aviators, so get you some today. Biotoxin illness is a real thing, and today a lot of people are dealing with stuff called Lyme or mold exposure, also parasites. All of these toxins are infiltrating our system because of the system that we're living in. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of options out there that are quick and effective to get rid of these toxins that are infiltrating us, except for something that I am getting so excited about, which is called the Milk Cleanse. So you're definitely going to want to check out this 8-day program. It's just a simple cleanse you can do. It's a simple mono diet that requires no effort on your part except to find your favorite source of milk. And side note here, even if you're dairy intolerant or lactose intolerant, you can still achieve health through this milk cleanse, because there is some really great research out there showing that a mono diet of milk actually can help you develop a tolerance for dairy. So I'd like you to go to themilkcleanse.com and check it out. There's so much great research there. I myself have done it repeatedly now with great success. Actually, at the tail end of my mold exposure now, I did this 8-day milk cleanse, and 99% of the leftover symptoms I had are gone. So if you want to try this milk cleanse, you can use my promo code TMCJODELLE. That's TMCJODELLE for 10% off the cleanse. I can't recommend this cleanse more because of how much it's done for me, and I know it's going to do wonders for you as well. Everybody I know that's done this has had great success. It's not a diet, it's just a simple way to add better health, better gut health, better brain health in just as little as 8 days. So if you have questions on this or you think it's kind of kooky, reach out to me, getfitwithjodelle@gmail.com. I'm happy to inform you about how much I love this cleanse. And don't forget to listen to my latest podcast, where I podcasted with the founder of the cleanse just to break down all the information for you. But again, themilkcleanse.com, and use my promo code TMCJODELLE for 10% off. Milk really does do a body good.